tried me several times, and there's times when I've been, like maybe like spank him or like kunya him, but the guilt I feel afterwards, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I feel there's just a guilt that comes over me that makes me feel like, oh my god, what did I just do?
There's actually a great breakdown of somebody saying, like, if all you do is put $100 a month from the time they're born until the time they get to 18, if they never touch that account at all from 18 until the time they hit, I think it's either 45 or 55, they are a millionaire.
Really?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Majuu Diaries. My name is Warimo, and today we still have a beautiful guest, June, and I'll let her introduce herself and we'll let you know what we're talking about today.
My name is June.
Period. If you don't know, if you haven't
figured it out,
yes, well, June joined us last episode, and we were talking about growing up as a pastor's kid. So please go back to our channel and watch that last episode. She did a very good introduction of herself. So if you want to know more about her, you gotta go watch that episode. Okay?
Yes. Hit that button.
Yes. So today we are talking about, of course, you can see on the title already if you haven't, but we're talking about parenting.
Yes.
We are both parents.
Yes. We are both parents.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about like the things we have learned about parenting, our highs, our lows, what we wish we knew, how it is parenting, within the Kenyan American community. So many things. So many things. So, June, you've been a parent longer than I have been.
Not by choice. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Oh my goodness. Let's just get started. And like, what are some of the things that, like, how do I say this? When you first became a parent, what was the shock what was some of the things that like shocked you first?
Oh my god.
In terms of being, oh my god, I'm a mom.
That's probably the biggest shock, is like, I am a whole mother now. I mean, like, as someone who aspired to be a mom, like, I looked forward to it, but if you know, you know, I didn't aspire to be a mom at that time that I became a mom. So that was just, and then how it all happened, that's another story.
Another story for another day.
That's a story for another day. But it was a shock. It was a complete shock for me.
Gosh.
Yes.
I mean,
what about you?
I think for me, when you're pregnant, it's like you're thinking about what it would be to hold your child, but once you do, it's a totally different feeling than what you thought it would be. My biggest shock was, and you read or you see all these people talk and tell you, but until you experience yourself, it's the lack of sleep in the oh my god. I always say, I don't know what it is that I expected or I thought life was going to be.
Yeah.
But that lack of sleep, it got me low-key depressed for a couple of months until I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. I got adjusted to it. I was like, this is a new norm, this is a new life we're doing. It's crazy. And then the way they tell you pump after breastfeeding, but you need to sleep when the baby is sleeping.
How
the math does not math at all.
The math is not mathing. No, this is true.
Gosh. Anyway, so we are raising our kids.
Yes.
In a sort of mixed culture again. And if you're watching Majuu Diaries for the first time, just let me bring you up to speed real quick. We are Kenyans who are living in America.
Yes.
And we are navigating life within those spaces.
Yes.
We interact with a lot of Kenyans. Our families are Kenyans, but we live in an American culture.
Yes.
And our kids are growing up in the same culture. So again, since you have gone before me, have you, I mean, you were telling me about how you feel like you're a first generation of Kenyan American.
Yes.
How has that integrated into your parenting?
I probably a lot more. People would call it westernized.
Or Americanized.
Yes, I'm Americanized. What does it say? They call it soft parenting.
Soft parent or gentle parenting.
Gentle parenting. So that's definitely something that I have taken on as a parent. I'm just in very much in comparison to how I was raised, by Kenyan parents, and then how I raised my daughter. Yeah, there's a lot of gentle parenting. The Bible says spare the rod, spoil the child, but I'm like, I might actually not use the rod.
I do not blame you, because when I was pregnant, I always said I want to be the disciplinarian in the family, because kids will always love their mom.
Yes.
But they need that nurturing relationship with their dad.
Yes.
They don't, because I'm speaking to us Kenyans. Most of the times our dads were the ones who used to really discipline us. And what happened is that it created a little bit of a rift between the kids and the dads, because it just saw the dad as just this person who just always beats me.
Yeah.
But there's no relationship. So me, I desired just to have the kids have a really nice relationship with their dad, and I be the
disciplinarian,
strict one in the girl.
I'm the same way, honestly.
When I looked at my children, I'm like, I ain't laying a finger on you.
But I still think you can be the disciplinarian, but it's more about and I think what it's called gentle parenting. It's just saying I don't need to beat you to get the point across.
That's right.
We can there's other forms of discipline that I can come up with where you're going to understand, the consequences of your actions. But, in order to produce, what I'm trying to get out of you. And I don't need to beat it out of you.
That's true.
Yeah.
So gentle parenting is not the lack of discipline.
Yeah.
It's just using a different form of discipline.
Exactly.
That isn't exactly
get the whip,
the actual rod.
Get the rod.
No, I agree with that. But also, and it varies from kid to kid.
That's
now
true.
On the TikTok, they say gentle parenting is for gentle kids.
But then
some kids are not really, gentle parenting does not work on them.
And you know what? That's when, as a parent, you gotta know your child.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
Some children, they don't respond well to let's have a talk. You might need to come up with other ways to be very enforcing.
I know.
So
I know.
I mean, now that you have two, I only have one. So would you say that? I mean, well, only one is still a baby, but
one is this is how I feel. I don't know how I'm gonna feel when she grows up, but when I start seeing myself in my daughter, that's when I'm gonna start saying, okay, we're cutting this right here. But I thought I would really be comfortable and okay, spanking and hitting or whatever my children. That thing I've tried it, because Theo has tried me. He has tried me several times. Oh, toddlers. He has tried me several times, and there's times when I've been, maybe spanking or kunya him. But the guilt I feel afterwards, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I feel there's just a guilt that comes over me that makes me feel like, oh my God, what did I just do? And then all I want to do is just overwhelm him with love, because I'm like, what did I do? So what I've been trying to do is ask myself, because when a child is testing you and you need to discipline them, it can trigger some anger in you that you want to respond in anger, and that's the part that you have to check yourself before you respond to that tantrum, before you respond to that. to remove the anger and deal with it like I need to discipline you because you did something wrong, but I don't want to like angrily like beat you, because we experience that.
Yes,
when you sometimes you just got a hot slap and you can tell the parent is really just coming from a place of anger, and that's not right. Because then it's not really, you're not really fulfilling, you just, what am I saying?
You're reacting and not responding.
Exactly. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. It's like it's a reaction. So it's just a reaction. I'm like, yeah. So I've been trying that gentle parenting also, but like you said, you have to know your child and what they respond to and adjust.
Yes.
My husband on the other side is like, boys need structure, they need discipline. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave that to you to discipline the boy and make him into a man, because that's your job. You do that. But then, and I'm gonna support you. But like, sometimes I feel like even when someone raises their tone on my child, I'm like, please don't. It's just, I think when it comes to disciplining, I have a long way to go in terms of learning. A long way.
Well, I don't think you ever get it right, but I think something you said earlier that, from my experience, just when I reflect on growing up, I believe is after you discipline, it's going back to your child and then having that loving. Now, like, you kind of, because you were talking about how like you want to go back and hug him, so I was like it's okay to do that. It's okay to go back, because that's something I do with my daughter. Like when I have to, I'll get upset and I'm like, you did this and this. I'm like, I gotta, I'm like, I'm taking this, and she gets upset. She will cry. But then I let her, and I tell her, I'm like, you need a moment? Take a moment.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back and I'll be like, mommy loves you, right? Mommy wants the best for you, right? And so I give her a hug. I tell her that I love her. So
that's the part that makes her cry more.
That's the part that makes her cry even more, because then I think that's the thing. In my opinion, I think as a kid, it's like, okay, is my parent just always angry at me? Because I feel like children, as a child, even as us as kids, to our own parents, like there's a desire to want to always please your parents.
True.
So, and it never goes away, even in older age. Like, absolutely, you still want to please them. So, letting them know, like, I am still pleased with you. We just need to get your act together.
I know. And it's so important to go back to that relationship up, because then it makes it all make sense. Like for the child, it's like, you're not just angry at me or beating me for no reason, or if you're using words, or like my husband says, the kind of form of discipline he would like to use is like physical work. Like if he does something like go run a mile, kind of something physical. It doesn't have to necessarily be like beating you, but you have to explain the lesson and the action, the consequence, and the lesson out of it all.
Exactly.
Then that way the child is not just left with, man, I'm just beaten, or I'm just scolded. They don't like me. Oh Lord, I love how millennials are raising their children. And not saying that our parents did not. They did
all
a great job. Not all millennials. Like, I feel like millennials are kind of doing things a little different.
Very much so. Because
a majority of them were just raised, this if you were really raised in a Kenyan home, that majority of people were it was battle every day. People were just being beaten. It was like, whoa, and there's a funny statement people say, like, my parents didn't beat me, they attempted to kill me. They say it was attempted murder. Some people lived in that kind of an environment, and that can cause a lot of trauma. And then you realize that as a parent, if you don't make a change, your children are gonna grow up the way you grew up, feeling like I was a burden, as you're saying, like my parents are always upset with me, they're always angry with me, like I never do anything right. And now I feel like millennials are really trying to change that with the gentle parenting or different form of disciplining and everything. So that's my observation.
I would agree. I think there's also some lack of boundaries in some areas, but that's a different topic for another day.
Okay, so many topics for another day.
We may need to do a parenthood time part 2.
I know. Oh my goodness.
Well, what do they call it? The X you see of parenting. Ooh.
Yeah, because then sometimes gentle parenting can just be on like the other side of like, okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Very true. Very true. But there was something you said earlier that I was like, ooh, we can come back to that.
Okay.
Where you said, when I see myself in my daughter.
Goodness.
Especially when you reflect on what you've done in life.
I know. Some parents, some parents I've heard they will tell their children, you keep being like that. When you get your own, you will know.
Mm-hmm. And what do they say? Like, your kids are 10 times worse than how you were.
Oh my God.
So you're like, what is 10 times worse than me? I don't even want to know.
Gosh, I think that part right there. Hey, Lord have mercy. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because it's one thing knowing yourself, and then it's another thing seeing your child acting out the way you normally have done. Look, God, if I see her attitude, Lord have mercy, please. let her not have my attitude. We're gonna have a problem. Ooh, we're gonna have a problem. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that?
So I think I try to tell maybe it's the same thing my mother told herself when she saw me for me, which is, she is God's child before she is my child, and so in everything she is doing, she will be okay.
I love that. That's very freeing.
It's very freeing.
Because there's this pressure that if my child fails in life, or if my child doesn't turn out to be a good person for the society, it's me I failed. It's on me as a parent to have failed. Is that an okay thing for a parent to carry, or do you just release yourself like, I did my part, I did the best that I could?
Yeah,
you're God's child, so however you turned out is you and God.
I think it's like I'm probably going to use a big word. I would say there's like a duality in it being both. Like, so like, it's freeing to know that, like, yes, like, you free yourself from like, you did the best with what with what you could, knowing what you knew, right? That said, I don't think that you want to use that as an excuse to just like not hear your child's experiences to how you parented them.
Right.
So in some way you also have to get ready, like when they're, like 20, 25, 30, and they're coming back and they're like, yeah, mom, dad, like, I didn't like when you did this. Like, yeah, being ready to kind of own that and being like, okay, yeah, I could have done that better. And, sitting in that and being like, well, at the time I didn't know, like now I know, but I didn't know it. So I think it's okay. I think it's both, it's like, but wouldn't use the word of like, I feel like I failed as a parent. It's like, I would never say I feel like I failed. I'm like, I did the best I could. Like, yeah. So, and it's just and also you have to, I think, also allow your kids to get to that point of giving you that grace.
Absolutely. Because
that's a freedom they also have to get to within themselves, to not hold that animosity towards you as a parent for what they feel like they lacked in you raising them.
That's one of my biggest fears as a parent, is that hearing that and knowing how much I am actively doing, or we are actively doing, to give our children more than we have, or not even just more than we ever got, but like, my question is, have I done the best I could for this child? Even in like with Theo, have I done all I needed to do? have I provided him with all the resources to like set him up for success, kind of thing. So if I ever hear when I hear, Mom, you could have done this, you could have done that, or when you did this I didn't like, I will sit down and I eat the humble pie, but to be honest, I'm going to be like, okay, wow, I really thought I did the best that I could. Yeah. And I'm gonna have to be able to hear that. Yeah. Jesus, man, parenting is
that's the humbling part of parenting. Yeah. And then again, I think when your child, if your child ever gets to that point, you know, having that conversation, and this is just my opinion, having that conversation enough, because there's a shift I've learned in just where like you stop becoming a parent and then you become like a friend. Yeah. Right? Like
when they're a little older.
Yeah, when they're older and you there's a counseling aspect to it. So I think that's when it's like, okay, you felt like I could have done this better. Cool. Explain to me like it's like, do you even know my story enough to know why I did things the way I did them? Yeah. You know, like because when you know, like, how about you understand my story so that way you know why I did it the way I did it, rather than being so quick to being like, oh, I'm so upset with you, Mom. You know, so even just having that conversation with your kid, like, let me tell you my story, right? Like, let me tell you where your mom came from. Yeah. Like, because we are not born in the same generation.
No, we're not.
We're like 2 generations, 3 generations removed from one another. So
that's right.
So like some of the, even historically speaking, what we see right now, like voting and all that, our kids don't even like experience the weight of what that is.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's like, I'm gonna lay out a nice little picture for you, and then I'm gonna let you sit in that, and then let that marinate so you can figure out what that, you know.
And the child also, when asking them, where is this coming from, what gave you this insight that what I did was so maybe wrong or could have done different? Is it because you saw somebody else raised that way? Or where is it coming from? What need did you lack? Yeah. Yeah. So fundamentally, or is it just because you wish you could have been raised, say for example, I never learned how to swim because we never had a house that had a swimming pool, so and so, you know, like it has to also be substantial enough. I guess. Yeah. But yeah, those conversations will be interesting to have with the kids when they're grown.
I know.
They're old. Oh my god. These are some of the things you don't think about when. Let me say, for me, I've only been a parent for about 2.5 years, and I think moving into the territory of was born and raised in Kenya for 23 years of my life, and then I moved to America, became a mom at the age of 31 thereabout. So I can't really say. And so when I moved here, I was living with my dad. He wasn't really parenting me because I was an adult, and you know, he just lived his life. I lived my life upstairs. You know, he lived our lives. There was no active parenting happening, so I can't really say I was ever parented in America. So now I'm coming to learn a lot of things
about parenting,
parenting in America. But again, we say we are Kenyan, so we live within a Kenyan community, but in American culture. What are some of the things what would you say is like the biggest maybe challenge or so of our kids being in like that blended kind of community? Like, I feel like, is it confusing them? Like, you know, at home it's a Kenyan home, you know, because majority of the kids, as you said, like maybe not even first generation of Americans, like our parents, when they came here, the age of our parents, they came with the kids like you guys when you were very, very young. So you technically became very, as you said, westernized
American.
And so there's that generation of people who they're not really first generation, but they you know, their parents came from Kenya. They were raised here from very young age, so they've had to kind of transformed from Kenyan to American.
Yeah.
And then now there's the next generation of the us guys now, and our children. So now, like, your daughter is 100% first generation Kenyan American, I guess.
Yeah.
So she's being raised in those two cultures. Do you see any conflict, like, that arises from the kids spending time with the American friends or the American culture, and then being also, like, you know, when they come home and they will show and stuff like that?
Oh, yes. So my daughter is like a pure Kenyan American because she's half Kenyan through me, and then her dad is purely American. Yeah. So I'm like, she is literally the example of a Kenyan American. Now, from my analysis, I mean, I don't think I've ever had this deep conversation with her to really know it, but I think it's figuring out where you fit in society, in the world, because, like, when you are predominantly in a Kenyan community, like, it's natural to I keep using big words, assimilate.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Assimilate into that community, you know, of just where you grew up. It's similar to how it would be if we were home, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you lived in a certain part of Kenya, right? Like, that's your community, you know, like, if you're not in Nairobi, like, you're like, Nairobi is like foreign place, you know? So it's figuring out, like, okay, how do I fit into now America? Like, so for her, it seems like in school, it doesn't seem like a struggle. But it's interesting because I feel like she struggles more in the Kenyan community fitting in versus in American and like in school amongst all other kids. It's easier for her to fit in there, find her friends, versus when she's around.
And I think that's a very common theme to majority of the kids nowadays. Yes. Honestly, the American, they fit in more because they spend more time in that culture, and also this their peers. You know, it's that age. Your age, you're going to gravitate more towards your age group. I think something that we kind of passionate about addressing is like the gap that situation has created between the parents and the children, because there has been this just people are and a lot of conversations have been had about it, and I feel like we're making strides where our very, very Kenyan parents want to parent the kids in a very Kenyan way because that's what they know, but then they are living in an American world culture, and that's what their kids have, as you said, assimilated into. And so there's that clash at home between the mom and you know, all the parents and the kids, because they're like, yeah, you're saying I'm Kenyan, but I feel American, you know. And I'm very passionate to bridge that gap because I understand it. I understand where the parents are coming from, and I can kind of understand where the kids are also coming from. And unfortunately, over the years, we've lost a lot of, you know, youth that way, you know. It's, and even in our church, like, you see most of the trend is that most of the kids, when they come to church because of the parents, right? But once they graduate high school and go to college, they never come back. And it's because I feel like let me not say it's because that's not a factual statement. And I feel like some of it is, okay, I've done the Kenyan thing. Now let me go actually be full into this, I guess, kind of like the American culture that, you know, I've known and I feel like I'm really, really part of. And I mean, and if you think about college here, you know, like, you've spent a majority of your time going to, you know, American schools, being around, you know, like, the American culture, which is very diverse. Like, it's not just like, it's not just one sector of people, it's a very diverse group. And then you go to college, which is now a place where you're really coming into your own, right? Figuring out, who do I want to be in the world? What job do I want to have? And then again, you're still around American, that's American culture, you know? So it's not to say that, I'm with you, like, I would love to figure out a way to kind of like
I wish there was a way we could kind of just bridge that gap and figuring out like how can we, and it's not necessarily like we all need to go to the same church, but how can we have that community, you know, with one another where, you know, like when it comes to, I don't know, like I remember back in the day, this is the best reference I can think of. Growing up back in the day, if you've lived in America for a while, you and you're Kenyan, you've probably gone, but there used to be a Kenyan Christian Fellowship of America, which was hosted, and it was once a year in July. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, it was probably one of the dopest things we used to go to. Yeah. Like, because we like, so our parents, my parents knew people, but these are like friends they had from Kenya. Yeah, like they still remember. And now it's their kids, right? Yeah. So like we're just like, you meet each other, and you're all Kenyans, and you're hanging out, you're having a great time, you know, and friendships are actually made in that. And it kind of sucks because then it's like you're not all from the same area. Like we live in Texas. I remember I made friends in Georgia, Pennsylvania. So you're like, how are we even gonna like keep in touch? But like that community was beautiful. Like you looked forward to going every single year because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see so and so and so and so, right? Yeah. So it's finding how do we go back to having something kind of like that.
That's a good problem to have. That I believe there's a solution lying somewhere there. Yeah. that must have been so much fun, you know, when the I can imagine. I can just imagine having friends all over different states.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, granted, the conferences, the parents, because it was a Christian conference too. So like, you know, like they had all, you know, there was a part that was like, they organized it to where like they had a kids ministry part, and there were people who oversaw that, but it was very much catered to the parents. Okay. So sometimes like as a young person, you would probably find yourself scattered, you know, but it would be, man, if the people who have gone to those conferences could speak to just some of the scattered things you used to do, but it you know, just connect, like, or being like the basketball, like there was like basketball courts, and like
kids being kids.
Yeah, we were just
kids being kids,
and we were like, they're like, y'all are supposed to be in fellowship, and we're on the basketball court just hanging out, having a good time. But it was the connections that were made were just beautiful.
That's awesome.
You know, like so. I think that's one thing I definitely, when I think back to like just great times in the community of Kenyans, that was one of the probably the best
KCFA.
times.
I know it still exists, but I've never really followed much of what they do. But I know it's still there, still definitely existing.
I have not kept up.
There's another part of parenting, and this one for me, I'm asking for myself this one, because again, I never really grew up in America. I came as an adult, and I've partially gone to school in America as an adult. So understanding the American schooling system for a typical Kenyan, like I was talking to another friend of ours who had come to visit, and when they first came here, because they had just come from Kenya, and their son was getting into school, and you know how when you're signing them up, they ask you like what languages are spoken at home, and she, you know, very genuinely, you know, we speak Swahili and English. So just because she wrote Swahili on that form, they put the son on in the ESL. Oh, okay. English as second language, and that record has followed him all the way, and now he's about to be a senior, and he's still having that record on him, even though like he speaks very well good English. So like some of those things nobody tells you. And I feel like I would like for this platform just mistakes to avoid when you're signing up your Kenyan children into the American system. Things you need to know, when to bring them on, things like that, like to make sure you don't get your child into ESL because that record will follow them forever. just things like that. Honestly, I wouldn't even have known myself until someone told me about it.
Oh, I didn't even know that. And now that you asked that question, I'm like, what are some mistakes to avoid? And I don't know.
And not the funny thing. I love the fact that your mom very passionate about this. She says they wanted y'all to be put in that system. And so one of the reasons why they parents stopped talking to you in Swahili and stuff was because the school was kind of forcing you guys to do ESL while you knew English. And so they really, really fought for you guys not to be in ESL. So otherwise that would have followed you all the years of school, which kind of puts you behind. Yeah, I'm just thinking, what else do I need to know?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Maybe the viewers, if y'all, if y'all know anything, drop it in the comments.
Educate us.
Yes, because I'm like, I know that's not. We don't speak no Swahili.
None. So I'll be very sure not to see. No. We don't speak Swahili.
Don't speak no
Only
Swahili.
English.
Only English.
Only
but
English.
If you've definitely seen something that to avoid, just drop it in the comments and let us know, because I would have never thought of
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I feel like I want someone to walk me through very specifically the stages. Like even till today I can't tell you the difference between preschool, pre-K,
the conversion of like standard, like in Kenya it's what, standard 1 to
that one is not from first grade. Standard 1, that one's fine. Anyway, in Kenya nowadays it has changed. They're going to do junior high in grade 6, and in grade 6 is like they have a whole new system. I haven't kept up with it because it's no longer the 844 system where you do 8 years of primary school or elementary and middle school, and then from there you do 4 years of high school and then 4 years of college. That's the system I grew up in. Now they have a whole new system.
Oh wow!
I think CBC, and it's different, and I feel like Kenya has adopted a lot of as American systems. Most schools are teaching American systems, British systems, so everybody has a whole different system they're doing. But here, just before first grade, I know you first go to kindergarten, but I don't know the difference between preschool and pre-K. I want to make sure my child is in school when he needs to be in school.
No,
I don't know which school am I taking him. What do I need? Guy, it's so much I'm learning on the as we go along, and I'm like, I need someone to sit me down and explain to me, because I wasn't born and brought up in the system.
No, I mean that makes a lot of sense, because I think even when I put Brooklyn in school, pre-K didn't exist. Yeah, pre-K was not there.
So what did she do before?
She was just in daycare.
Oh.
Yeah, she was.
And then went straight to kindergarten.
And then went straight to kindergarten. Because there was no pre-K, because a lot of schools hadn't adopted an actual curriculum pre-kindergarten. But the reason, so maybe this is one thing to know, a big reason why they adopted pre-K, and that really just happened recently. If I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe they recently adopted it due to COVID and how kids were now falling behind.
Oh, really?
Regarding certain things. The biggest thing is learning how to read. Teaching kids how to read is probably one of the hardest lessons you will face. Your kids will know the words that they are saying, but getting them to look at a letter, they call it phonetically. Phonetically say the sound of each letter. Yeah, that's a challenge.
Oh my god, that's funny, because when we were growing up there was nothing like phonics. I've heard phonics when I came to America, and I have to learn how to do phonics, because I never knew what A says. We never grew up saying anything close to that. And I have to learn that so I can teach my child. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole preschool, oh my goodness, it's Lord have mercy.
Yes.
It goes back to the point where I just want to I'm always like anxious, like, am I doing the best for my child? Am I making sure he has everything he needs, or she has everything she needs? Am I that's a constant running thought in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can't imagine if I miss something, you know. Like, I need to find out at what year, how many years they go to kindergarten, just such things, you know. And like, you know, things you don't really consider until you like move to America. Like, oh, I have to really consider where I'm living because of the school district, you know.
Yes.
Is it a good school district?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's one, probably, is search the school district. You know what, if there was one advice, and I'm going to say this on behalf of my uncle, because he'd be like, you should have said this. So this is for you, Uncle Solomon. If you are coming to America, and regardless if your child is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, open a 529 account.
Mm-hmm.
That is basically like it's an investment account for your child, where you can put money however much you can afford, $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, weekly, whatever.
Yeah,
you invest in it, and then when they go off to college, and then it really grows with them by the time they go off to college, if they don't need to use it for college. And they literally, like, I think there's actually a great breakdown of somebody saying, like, if all you do is put $100 a month from the time they're born until the time they get to 18, if they never touch that account at all from 18 until the time they hit, I think it's either 45 or 55, they are a millionaire.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. If they never use it for college?
Yeah, and if you just invest in one of the common, like, I don't know if it's called a mutual fund or index fund, but it just grows like 10% every single year. Yeah. Then by the time they get to, like, and that's building now generational, that's now building wealth.
That is so important, and I'm glad I never had to like do like not crazy like college here, where I had to like go into debt and all that stuff, though I do have a student loan. But as you said, like, that's one thing I've learned with most Americans. They figured that out quite early, and a lot of Kenyans have also adopted that too with time. But then, you know, some of them, they came here with like school age children, or their kids were maybe just like going to high school or whatever. So they most kids did have to take student loans to go to college. But nowadays, as you say, people are really taking advantage of that 529 and making sure they're setting the kids up. That's how Americans stay ahead, because most kids, and you don't have to be super wealthy to do that, because by the time your kid is going to college, the college is paid for. Hopefully they don't go to like a super expensive college, but you know, if your kid is graduating with a good degree, debt free, oh, you've set them up for success. Yes, you've already set them up for success.
Yes, and having those teaching like basic financial principles, even like if you're coming with like middle-aged kids, especially if they get older, because one thing about the influence of America is like, you will learn about credit, borrowed money. And so if you don't teach your kids early, like, that is a trap. They will literally walk in and they will find themselves, even if it's not for school, just debt, just trying to either, like they say, keep up with the Jonases, or just do, just think, oh, I can just charge it on a card. I can charge it on a card. So just teaching also, like some of those financial principles early.
Absolutely.
Because I hate to say it, but it's like, when you're bringing kids from a different side of the world, I don't want to say they're behind, but they are. Like, kids who have lived here or, grown up here,
they just don't know the system here.
Exactly.
Yeah, like me, when I came here and I got mail I was pre-approved for a credit card. And What do you mean I'm worth all that? Huh? Please, yes, give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Nobody told me. And if you don't have the discipline or the financial understanding, learning how to pay credit card on time and all that stuff, and learning credit, oh yeah, it will go down south very quickly, fast. Very fast. So that is very important. Financial understanding. I think Dave Ramsey has a book called Smart Money, Smart Kids. Something like that. He's written with his daughter about teaching kids about money.
Okay.
I'm not plugging it or anything. I'm just saying there's a book, because let me say, for me myself, most of my financial literacy is from Dave Ramsey. Mm-hmm. I like his what he teaches about money. I like the system, and that's what I try to follow. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so if you want smart money, it's called Smart Money, Smart Kids, or money something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, teaching your kids about money, kwanza in America, yes, they will send you those pre-approved mail to your house
quickly, and then you'll be like, what's a credit score? Mm-hmm. And and those are things you want to know before you find yourself in the ditch, right? So,
and that's that. From speaking from experience, I did not know what all that was until I found myself in the ditch. I drove myself right in there. So in the journey of coming back out, bruh.
Yep, there's a lot. I think my parents probably the most, because they definitely push financial literacy.
They did, I mean, of course, my dad's biggest thing is save. Yeah. But there was really no this is what a credit score is, this is what you should do or don't do with credit cards and stuff like that. A lot of it I've come to learn after the fact.
Yeah, after the fact.
After I've maxed out a credit card and I'm trying to get myself out of a hole, that's when I'm like, okay, so this is what you're not supposed to do, or you're supposed to pay your credit card on this time of the month. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I would even add on top of that, so since we're on parenting, mistakes to avoid, because these things are hitting me as we're talking. Learn the different jobs or careers that are available, especially if you're bringing high school, like middle school to high school children in America. Because one thing they will not tell you is this thing called the GPA that determines where your kid will be admitted or get accepted into university is highly dependent on their academic performance in high school. And that is 9th, they call it grade 9, all the way till grade 12. So, but it's not just that part. It's also, because I feel like coming from an African background, and I literally mean this African background. Yeah. We are so laser focused on certain career paths for our children.
Nursing.
Yes. Healthcare, engineering, lawyering. And there's such a plethora of different opportunities that, to really learn, because it's on you as a parent to know the options so you can
educate
your kids, because I feel like as a parent your kid almost better than themselves. You see what they're good in, are they really good with their hands, or do they like to build? They may be like, oh, I want to go be I'm trying to just think of something crazy, I want to go fly planes, and you're like, you don't like sitting still, you don't even like people like that.
You don't like physics like that.
You don't like physics, you're afraid of heights. How are we going to be flying planes? Make this make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. And so you're just like, okay, but I know you like doing this. I'm like, how about you look into this and this and this, because the opportunity is there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And allowing kids to thrive not just in education, because there's so many other places that kids can thrive as well, in arts and sports and stuff like that. This is not just linear education is important, because
very much.
It's very good and you should, but if you really see your child is not getting it or whatever, like, but they are really good in sports or they're really good in arts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think focusing more attention on what they're really good at, instead of driving, because there's this very Kenyan thing, like if you don't make A's, or if you don't make, I wouldn't say A's, like, you know, you kind of made to feel like a failure, you know. And this, I feel like this has changed over time. A lot of people have come to understand that education is not everything.
Yeah,
it's not everybody who was meant to be
scientist,
or study to PhD and become, you know, there are people
doctors
who are meant to thrive in sports and all that stuff, and it's okay for you to support your child while they do that, but it's also very important to also tell them, yes, this is, I'm gonna support you, but you still gotta have some education. You know, definitely. Just study whatever you get, just get a degree, even if it's
you know, they said there was a funny, it's a funny quote, but it's very true. C's still get degrees in college. I mean, like, but the goal is definitely get to college.
Yes.
But that's also if college is for you. Yeah. Kind of following that mindset. Like, but yeah, C's still get degrees. So.
You still get degrees.
Yes. There's some degrees obviously where GPA matters a lot, but those, you know, that's when you got to do your research and really know, like, if I'm choosing this degree, is this something I have to make sure I'm in the top? You know, like I need that 4.0 by the time I graduate. If it's not, I'm like, you know, don't put that too much pressure on yourself.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And on that note, if you're watching this far and you have not done the thing, please, what are we doing? Please do the thing and interact with us on our social media handles. Yes. Write us an email. Well, we got a very, very nice email from one of our viewers, and thank you so much. And it's such emails that just make me feel like, wow, you're really, really invested in what we are doing and you want better for us. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you for sharing our stories, for sharing, you know, our videos. We really do appreciate you guys. So we're gonna say goodbye here, and me and Miss June will see you on the next episode.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.